Hey there, welcome back friends. In this video we will talk about Autowire furthermore. Now friends, in our last video we have seen the usage of Autowire, and this is cool, and the Autowire was used on a property. What is this? Engine is nothing but a property for this class, that's it, and we are simply auto-wiring the object of engine type. Till now things are very good, and if I again show you this engine class is super simple class. Now this is cool, this is nice, and whenever we auto wire directly on the property, we basically make use of the default constructor. In fact, whenever we make use of a auto wire annotation, we are making use of a default constructor. I can prove this point by making use of a constructor here. For example, if I create a parameterized constructor, and for example in here we do nothing but update the value of what we say, the type. Now in here, as we have made use of a parameterized constructor, there is no default constructor now. Now if I run this application, that would be a crash. Here we go. So there is a crash, and it would be because we don't have a parameterized constructor. It says error creating bean with my Corolla because engine field or the dependency injection which is defined there cannot be created. Check this. Unsatisfied dependency expressed through constructor parameter 0. So the default constructor is not present. As a result, there is a crash. Well, this is known now to us, and let me quickly undo the changes. Let me get rid of the parameterized constructor. But now when we wish to update some value in an object, how we can do it, right? So there comes a issue. So now, for example, I navigate to this class and we wish to update the value. That is possible using setter. So in here, let me right click, navigate to source, and we will generate a setter for the same. Here we go. And using the setter, for example, we update the value of engine type. So it could be like engine dot type equals, and we give the name as a new V8 engine. Alright, so now the value has been updated. Alright, and then the new value would be assigned to this engine. Now friends, if I directly run this application, let me show you. It will give me the old value. It is not running the setter. The reason being, we have to auto wire the setter, then only things will be working. Alright, so in here what happening is this setter is simply ignored. It is ignored, and Spring is not running it automatically. If we wish to run this, we have to run it manually. But for example, we cut the autowire annotation and mark this setter as a autowired method. In this case, what happens is Spring will run this particular a method before using it. So this is interesting, and now let me run the application real quick. Let me show you, and here comes the new value. So this is interesting. Now a question arises that if, for example, there is no need of a object of engine type, then what would be the outcome? For example, in here we don't need the object in our specs method. So indeed, the creation of object is optional now, and in here sedan with Toyota with engine type as unknown could be the output as of now. Now if I run the app, definitely we get a output where the output is sedan from Toyota with engine type as unknown. Well, this is cool, this is nice, but Spring gives us a yet another functionality, a yet another way to optimize things. Now whenever we, for example, auto wire stuff, for example, I have auto wire this property. Now whenever there is not a requirement to create a object in a memory, Spring may skip it. By default, Spring will create a object if we are auto wiring stuff, but indeed we can make use of something known as required. So in here, if I mark this as false, then Spring will smartly work and it will not create a object of engine type if it is not required, hence optimizing our application. So this annotation or this way of handling the object is a yet another advantage of Autowire. So in here, if I run the application again, we will get a same output, but this time way around, Spring will skip creating a engine object in the memory. So take a note of it. Whenever there are like scenarios where object may be required or it might not be required, in those kind of scenario, use the required flag. Alright, now finally there could be a scenario where for example, let me comment this out. For example, we make use of a constructor, right? So for this particular class, maybe there is a constructor. Let me quickly create a constructor in here, right? And let me cut the constructor and add it before the specs method. And in here again, we will need a engine object. Again, this is possible. We can definitely make use of the Autowire annotation here, and it will work just fine. Let me run the app and it will work, and it will say inconsistent constructor declaration on bean with my Corolla, single autowired marked constructor flagged as optional. Well, the reason why we are getting this error, let me show you, is because we have marked this Autowire as false and constructor will always run, right? So as a result, we need to get rid of this required annotation. Again, let me rerun this application and the error is gone. Alright, now let me quickly navigate to Corolla.java. In here, let me make some changes. In here, again, let me make use of the engine object, engine.type, cool enough. And now in here, let me do these two lines in our constructor, right? So this is nice, this is cool. Now let us check the impact and take a note of it. The Autowire is on the constructor itself. So now if I run the app, definitely we will be able to see the update, which is sedan from Toyota with engine type new V8 engine. Cool enough. So this proves that our our constructor is running properly and everything is good enough. Nice, cool. But for example, I cut the Autowire annotation and again use it on the property itself. Let me run the app itself. Let me rerun, and it will again make use of the new property, the new value. The reason being, there is a difference between constructor and setter. Setter is a method which is used to update the object later down the line, whereas constructor is used to create the object itself. So there is a difference. As a result, usage of Autowire on setter and constructor is little different. Now, if we make use of Autowire on the property or on the constructor, it makes no difference. But when we make use of the annotation on setter, it makes a difference, right? So in here, let me undo the changes. Let me quickly show you. So in here, for example, we make use of Autowire on the property and we run the app. We will get the old value, and if we make use of this annotation on setter, then Spring will explicitly run this setter value when we will use the object, when we will create the object using the bean factory. So there is a slight difference. Here we go. So we have the new value. So take a note of these small little changes and how the Autowire annotation works in all of these permutations and combinations. Alright, so having said this, Autowire, the concept of inversion of control is a core feature of a Spring, and definitely practice and try to make things very clear do practice. Practice is very important. Spring is kind of little complicated to understand to start with, but eventually when you will grow old you will get it. So having said this, that's it for today, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day and take care.